Welcome to Wednesday's Market SITREP here at Top Gun Options. Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wiz, and just got done a great accelerated retirement session with our members. One of the 4 portfolios I manage here at Top Gun Options. We just got filled on a Facebook bull put spread out to regular August expiration. It's already up 2, 3, 4% right now. And also reviewed our Jan19 Morgan Stanley position that we put on, I think it was last week, that's already up 4.5%. So very, very nice trades in accelerated retirement. Really happy with the performance year to date, or actually since Options House became E-Trade. That's a whole nother story. Hold my beer. Real quick, folks, tomorrow at 1 or 4:30, depending on your schedule, I'm going to knock out a free webinar, not just for my members. I'm going to open this up to the public, because if you're not a little concerned about this market right now at record highs with low volatility, low volume, North Korea, Russia, Iran, you're nuts. So folks, at 1 or 4:30, I'm going to do a webinar on how to hedge this Trump rally. We're going to take a look at the Dow transports and a little bit of Dow transport theory here in a couple minutes, but there's a couple canaries in the coal mine that are dropping dead right now. And if you're not hedged right now, you have to. So head to go.topgunoptions.com/FT. That stands for full throttle dash webinar. Pretty easy to remember. Go.topgunoptions.com/FT dash webinar. And just for registering folks, I'm going to throw in a free copy of our OPCL, the Options Pocket Checklist. And that right there is a $45 value, folks. So make sure you register for that. Okay, let's get strategic here and get our head above the trenches. Cracks me up today, folks, that Trump begrudgingly signed sanctions against Russia. If he and Putin colluded, they're doing a pretty damn good job of showing us that they hate each other. Yesterday, this was floated in the Wall Street Journal that the Pentagon and the White House wants to finally arm Ukraine, as opposed to Angela Merkel and her husband Barack Obama when Putin invaded the sovereign country known as Ukraine. They did nothing. They sent them blankets and night vision goggles, so I guess if it was chilly at night, they could put on the night vision goggles and watch themselves get killed. Finally, Defense Secretary Mattis and this White House is going to help arm Ukraine to provide defensive weapons. Don't forget, folks, Vladimir Putin shot down a civilian airliner. Imagine you up at 37,000 feet with your wife, your kids, and all of a sudden you disintegrate. Or actually, you starve to death of oxygen as you're falling in your seat, or you freeze to death. That's what happened, folks. Awful. So finally, this national embarrassment of us doing nothing to help Ukraine out, hopefully we can right. But again, folks, Washington's churning, the mooch is gone, General Kelly's in, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? The Dow's above. The Dow is above 22,000, and Apple absolutely crushed it. Took my cord out as I was doing my webinar here. But who cares about the Washington churning, folks? You got to be bullish here, but you have to be hedged. We're going to talk tomorrow about North Korea. And yesterday before or Monday before the staff meeting, what did the president say? We're going to handle North Korea. It'll be handled. We handle everything. It's going to be the fall, folks. If we get into a shooting war, it's going to be quick. It's going to be tactical. It's going to be surgical. The dude's not sleeping in the same bed every night. He ain't driving around in limos anymore. He knows he's got a target on his head. Something's going to happen sooner rather than later, and it's time to get hedged. But I saw this, my phone vibrated sitting on the couch last night, and it was Wall Street Journal headline, U.S. plans trade measures against China. I'm like, finally Donald Trump is going to start sanctioning China for not sitting on their retarded cousin down in the basement there. And it wasn't. Trump administration aims to force Beijing to crack down on intellectual property and ease market access. Seriously? Who the hell cares about intellectual property theft when Washington, Oregon, and California are going to be disintegrated in a couple months? Mr. President, wake up and throw every Chinese student out of this country on a student visa. Start sanctioning Chinese companies. Wake up tomorrow, send out a tweet, and then sign it that says, China, you are now a currency manipulator. Wake these people up to sit on North Korea before a nuke hits New York, Mr. President. Enough. I'll leave it at that. Again, we laughed yesterday as now, Trump, you want to own the stock market? I hope you own it when it goes down 5, 10, 15, 20%, or we have a 2008 financial tsunami. Dude, attaching yourself to the success of this was a bad idea, because presidents can... Here's how they impact the stock market. They can create a good business climate, lower corporate tax rates, infrastructure spending, gutting that ridiculous Franken-Dodd knee-jerk liberal reaction to the 2008 tsunami. A lot of regulatory reform, ditching Obamacare, which they can't do. So the president can try and create a good environment, but the market's the market, guys. You want to own it on the way up, Mr. President? You're going to own it on the way down. Good GDP last week at 2.6%. But, folks, stocks are up 20% under Donald Trump. And I'm one of the few guys you can count on one hand the number of financial professionals who both predicted that Trump was going to win and the market was going to rally about 10 to 15%. You're looking at him, folks. That was a career call for me, and I made it. Now I'm telling you, this thing's getting a little scary. And again, folks, I flew off an aircraft carrier at night in bad weather over Iraq on combat sorties. Not much scares me. I'm not saying I'm scared of the market because as an options trader, we can potentially make money whether the market's going up, down, or sideways. What I'm saying is trying to use those type of words to get you to wake the hell up. Yeah, we've had some good earnings. Last quarters were good. This quarter's are good. Great. Transport theory, folks. FedEx, UPS, shipping. I run on the beach down here in Fort Lauderdale every day. I can tell you how the economy's doing. 12 ships waiting to get into port. Things are great. One dude in a rowboat, things aren't great. So we're going to talk tomorrow at 1 and 4:30 about Dow theory and how some of the canaries in the coal mine, like the financials, like the transports, when they start to roll over, if things aren't being moved, when you look at these big ships that go in the port of Fort Lauderdale or Miami, there's stuff on it, right? Moving stuff, or FedEx and UPS. When those hubs in Memphis or Louisville are teeming with activity, the economy is usually good. When those things throttle back, so does the economy. Oil's kind of stable. We talked about this in Accelerated Retirement and laughed about it. OPEC's catch-22. How to unwind its deal to cut oil output. Why? Because OPEC needs to pump. It's comical, folks. Look at this headline. OPEC has a problem. Its members can't stop pumping. Why? Because they're all stupid. They don't understand that if they the heads of the five families here, Tatalia, Barzini, if these guys stopped pumping for a week, oil would be at $300. They'd all be rich. They're all stupid. Angola, Nigeria, Venezuela. God, a lot of Venezuelans here in South Florida. I'm mortified about what's going on in Venezuela, and we should be doing more. Separate story. But my heart bleeds for the folks in Venezuela. But look at this. Venezuela needs oil at 118 to even come close to balancing national budgets. The only ones that are close to the current price of oil are Qatar, Kuwait, and Iran. And maybe Iraq. We're in the upper 40s, low 50s here. They have to pump, folks, because they think it's going to pay things off. But their over pumping keeps prices depressed. But trust me, folks, let's see here. They're not the sharpest tools in the shed. Been to Kuwait, been to Qatar, been to the UAE, been to Saudi, flown over Iraq. Almost shot down an Iranian helicopter. So I've been to most of these places, interacted with these people. They're not the sharpest tools in the shed. They don't understand free markets, and that's why oil is a complete clown car. Talked about Goldman Sachs earlier in the week. They're my bronze, man. Lloyd, you're about to get booted, guys. If next quarter you're trading your FIC, your fixed income currency commodity doesn't turn around, you're getting booted out, and I'll put in America or Citi in the bronze. Right now it's JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs. You were the gold medalist. You're out. Cougar was number one. You guys were number two. And then I'm going to cover all these headlines tomorrow. Getting a little long here, but all the VIX trades and, I love JP Morgan. Retail investors are starting to hedge against a crash. Starting to. If they haven't been, they're a little late. But to be honest with you, with the VIX, where are we right now? Let me pull it up. The VIX is still... I'm going to teach you tomorrow, folks, when volatility is cheap, you buy it. When it's expensive, you sell it. We're back to being underneath 10 here. Vol's cheap. I'm going to teach you a secret little-known tactic tomorrow called a bullish double vertical, and we'll probably do it on VXX. That's going to capitalize. That's going to print money when, not if, something happens to freak this market the hell out in the next couple of weeks, okay? This thing, when the market freaks out, this trade makes money. Now look at this, and we'll talk about the issues with backwardation, contango, and rebalancing in some of these VIX-based ETFs. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Well, Wiz, where do I register? Great question, guys. You need to head to go.topgunoptions.com/FT-webinar, and you can grab your slot for tomorrow, okay? 1 o'clock or for 30. It's just one registration for both times. We'll figure it out on our end. At the end of the day, folks, I was cautiously bullish up through here, and then I switched weeks ago to being market neutral, and we nailed both of those. Also nailed Apple earnings, and we'll talk a little Apple tomorrow. A little bit of a miss with the phones, but guys, $262 billion? Could you imagine if they were allowed to bring that home from County Cork, Ireland, how many shares they could rebuy? They're already buying back their shares, but they could build another Cupertino, California, next to Cupertino, California, for that amount of money. So Democrats, please wake up. Please get on board for tax reform. I know Obamacare, you guys, not one vote for it, but everybody did vote for it on your end years ago. Ditch the partisanship, man. I need tax reform, for God's sakes. How about you help my bottom line? But I digress. All right, folks, I'll see many of you tomorrow at 1 o'clock or 4:30. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and God bless. We'll see you.